Hey everyone, it's Justin. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. Whether you're near, far, watching, listening, thank you so much for being with us for episode 338. It's just each episode it is just something that uh, we're very grateful to be able to do. What I wanted to share here at the outset is for those of you who are able to, whether you are filming a show, uh, whether you're just looking for some quiet time, uh, I just want to share the importance of your local library and libraries across the country here in the United States, the state of Ohio, and then also across the world. I don't know much about libraries across the world. I am just a making a thought, thinking that libraries act in the same way that they do here in the United States. And not only that, uh, libraries offer a rich amount of content. So fiction, nonfiction, children's, some even have different instruments, different things you can rent for a week or two, which is really a neat thing because as I was as I was going through my first 12 years of school, one of the things that was happening, uh, and I'm not sure the exact state of affairs right now, but at that time, the arts, uh, whether that's, drama, whether that is, you know, playing an instrument in the band, the school band, or others, or even just having a class included that was, whether it's art, whether you're drawing or painting, or again, playing an instrument, or maybe being part of a choir, if you're able to. A lot of those programs had been and were on the chopping block, meaning that when schools were looking at areas to cut, they looked at the arts. And I think that's a mistake if that is still happening. I do have an understanding that tough decisions have to be made. But as someone who has benefited from the arts, uh, how much that I'm realizing is a part of my life that's the arts. And so filming and all that, TV shows, podcasts, those are all forms of art. And when those get taken away, I think I think it's a shame. And and so the fact that there are different avenues, one being again, this is in our community, having a library that offers so many different ways to connect, so many different ways to let our minds just be creative. And so I just want to say thank you to all the libraries, all the locations, no matter near or far, uh, because of you, it keeps a lot of us connected to be able to bring content, bring uh, safe spaces, quiet spaces, uh, books, CDs, movies, DVDs, instruments for some. It's just an important piece that I think that children would be missing out on if those were taken away and weren't available. So sometimes it's not until we ourselves use something, where we use a service or whatever it may be, that we don't we that we kind of take things for granted. I know it's easy to, look at something that maybe we don't do or doesn't impact us and say, oh yeah, we can cut that program, or this over here, yeah, we can cut that. And I think that would be a great disservice for that to occur or to continue occurring. So when I see and hear stories about the arts and school being expanded, when I hear and see stories about students and individuals who are excelling, and even if they're not excelling, just being a part of a group, being a part of a community that that says with open arms, if you wanna come join us, if you wanna come study here, if you wanna come have a business meeting, depending on locations, that to have those spaces available for the community is really big. I mean, I like to think of, so there's a movie being, the Cleveland Indians. I'm gonna get a lot of pushback on, well, they're the Guardians. Well, to me, they're the Cleveland Indians. And the Cleveland Indians weren't a very good baseball team for a long, 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 long time, especially growing up for the most part. And so there was a movie that was put together called Major League, and it was showing how players coming from all different areas that might not have played college baseball or anything, and they're pulled in and saying, okay, you're going to play for the Cleveland Indians in this movie. Well, so they ended up making two movies. The first was called Major League, and the second was called Major League Two. In Major League Two, the one catcher, uh, not Jake Taylor, uh, I think his last name was Baker in the movie, was talking about there was an internal struggle going on within the team. Like, well, if there's a doubleheader, meaning you play one game in the morning, either you play, doesn't have to be in the morning, but you play two games in one day. And the part of the movie I'm thinking about is one of the uh this catcher, last name I think Rube Baker. Uh, so he had got injured in the first game, the doubleheader. So in the second game, in between the first and the second, the catcher was up on the training table getting ice and trying to, I think it was a twisted ankle or an injury to the leg. And one of the players came in and said, "Hey, at least, you're lucky you don't have to play in the second game." And the catcher found a, problem with that and said, "Hey," among other things, that he had met he had met a fan and said that the most grass, the most green grass, most grass in general, that anybody in the city, that this person living in the city limits downtown, that the most grass they've seen was the grass that the ball players get to play on every day, or however many games they play, whether they're playing a home game or whether they're playing an opposing team's ballpark. And he got up and said that what I just mentioned. And so I like to think of that as a correlation to libraries and different resources that, instead of looking at it as, well, hey, it's easy to cut because I don't go there. I don't have any children, or I don't have any guardian people that I'm a guardian for. Uh, and it's not even just for students. There's newspapers, there's magazines. Uh, it's for everybody, adults, children. And and so it's a big thing to have a library. It's a big thing to have resources available. And again, I get it. There's things that, there's only so much money. That's why I think having, from a government perspective, having some form of fiscal responsibility is a good thing. Why? Because that's less programs or less things that have to go reaching out for extra money for tax increases or levies or whatever the buzzword of the day is. Just switching my position here, sitting, if you're wondering why. Okay. So don't underestimate the library. And I think another big thing tied into the library is what I said was quiet. And I want to say all of us, but a lot of us have a phone that we're able to have the internet and social media on, and text messages and emails and calls and all the bells and whistles. And so to have an alternative to that for even just a little bit, again, we're paying through taxes for these programs. So unless it's a private library, all are welcome. And having a little bit of quiet time, regardless if you're like I am, and have that, that busy mind, ADD, ADHD, the generalized anxiety, and even the major depression, to have just a few minutes, half hour, 20 minutes, whatever that may be, to put the phone down, turn it off, turn the ringer off, maybe see if there's where the quiet space is, and just maybe close your eyes for a minute or two, and you'll be able to tell, like me, maybe that, wow, my mind's really racing. And so I want to tie this into a vacation. So a few years ago, that's probably when I started to notice the most when we talk about the mental health and how connected we are and whether that's necessary all hours of all days. I forget where we went, but what I do remember is putting my phone in the safe of the hotel and not looking at it. I don't know if it was not looking at it until the end of the trip or if it was, once a day, at the end of the day, looking at it once and then putting it back in. But what I vaguely remember, and it's still true to this day, but what I vaguely remember is how long it took my mind to get to the present time, being on vacation and not having my phone with me, whether I'm hearing it's buzzing or if I'm just looking and I'm like, oh, let me look at whatever. Let me look at social media. Let me look at news. And that's a big deal. It took, if I'm not mistaken, until that third day for my mind to truly be in the moment as best as it could, as best as it can. And that is really troubling to me because we don't always get a chance to go on vacation. And sometimes if we do, the vacation's only for a couple days. If we're lucky, we're able to go on a little bit of a longer vacation, whether it's every year, every other year, every 5 years, whatever that time may be. And so what I remember so so clearly was that it took pretty sure well into that third day for my mind to slowly lower the intensity of the thoughts racing in my mind, in my head. So just think about that. We've been, I'll say given, but we've been sold a bill of goods like these phones that they're going to um, they're going to keep us connected and all that. Well, that was the first time that I was realizing like I'm not really connected with what I'm doing in the moment. And what I would find out years later was I wasn't being present as much as I thought I was. I thought it like, well, okay, well, I can see you right now, or I can hear you. So yeah, you're present right now. But that's not what it means. It means at what point, if there is a point, can I close my eyes or not even close my eyes? Can I just think and not be concerned with what's happening on my phone? That guess what? There's probably not a whole lot that's going to change from the morning to the afternoon or evening or over a course of time. And you know what? That I started to realize after that point that there were people who were doing the same thing. So they would go on vacation and they would not be available. So if I was trying to reach them, they're on vacation, they weren't picking their phone up, they weren't responding. And so it got me thinking even more like, well, why can't I do that? What makes, these other individuals be able to do that and I can't? Uh, and that's when I started to realize how how the anxiety was to an extent uh, being driven by, that you don't want to miss out on what could happen. And then take a step forward, then there was a trip where I think it was 5 or 6 days or 4 or 5 days. And it was the first time that I ever put my phone in the safe and I didn't look at it until we were getting ready to go to the airport to leave to come back home. And I went through at that point all the messages, all the things that, I thought I was missing out on. And you know what happened? I didn't miss out on a whole lot. There wasn't a whole lot from the day that I turned my phone off, put it in the safe, till the day that I took it out to head to the airport to fly home. And that got me thinking, if I can do that, I should be able to do that at any given time. And so this is bringing us back to the library. So the library is a place where innately it's a quiet place where we can, again, we can go, we can look up books, we can look at magazines, we look at newspapers, uh, we can use computers if we don't have our own, to view email. Uh, but a lot of it's done in quiet. And so the moral of this story is we're not gonna miss out on as much as we think we're gonna miss out on. There's not gonna be some huge breakthrough that we're gonna miss out on by taking a half hour a day or half hour every other day or half hour a week and just put the phone down and just think. Because what happens at sometimes is that we get into this group think of, oh, so and so's doing that. My roommate's doing this person, that person. Yeah, that sounds good to me. But is that truly how we feel? Or are we just doing it because our friends are doing it? And so the more time we can just be a human being and be present in the moment, it's easy to say, but it's really darn hard to do. So the next time you get that opportunity to be on your phone or not, be off your phone for a little bit. I'm not telling you to abandon your phone at all. No. I'm telling you as somebody with mental illnesses that I can do a heck of a lot better myself. And even if it's just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever that time may be, then I can be like, oh, I'm tasting this food because I'm not scrolling and I'm not just eating and doing all, six, seven things at one time. Again, easier said than done. I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be perfect. I just know an area that has helped my mental health when I do it. Now, there's a lot of times I don't do it and I need to get better. And so it's that continuous learning and improving. So give it a try. See how it works. See if it works. Again, if it's 30 minutes a week versus 30 minutes every day or 10 minutes every day, the more you practice it, the more benefits you're going to have. Our brain's going to be less stimulated by scrolling and scrolling and posting and photo pictures and TikTok videos and all those things that are just stimulating. And I'll leave you with this. I've mentioned before, I mentioned again, talk about competitors in business. Reed Hastings from Netflix, and I know there's a lot going on around Netflix right now. I'm not going to get into that. But what I am going to get into is we talk about competitors, right? So if let's say Nike's competitor is Under Armour, well, Netflix views one of its competitors as sleep because if you're asleep, you're not watching Netflix. And so just let that sink in. Netflix, as well as iPhone, droids, they're made to be addictive. They're made to be as easy as possible to look and find what you want and to do it. So Reed Hastings said they one of the competitors of Netflix is sleep because when we're asleep, we're not able to be watching Netflix. And I'll leave you with this last thought. Tim Cook from Apple. Tim Cook from Apple. Okay, so I have this thing right here. Um, it's called a phone, and Apple makes the phone. Tim Cook's the head of Apple. He's not against people owning iPhones, buying iPhones, having them, the wearables. But what he said is he won't let it's either his nephews and nieces, or it's nephews or nieces. I'm not sure, but he won't let them on social media. So let that sink in as we close out this episode. You have the leader of one of the largest, I call it smartphones. I think it makes us dumber because it's like, wait, what? What's going on? If we're not looking at our phone. But you have the leader of one of the biggest tech organizations, and they're saying publicly that they don't want their nieces and nephews, niece or nephew. I can't remember the exact breakdown of the his family makeup, but he said that he wouldn't want them to be on social media because he knows some of the detriments of it and how somewhat perfect it makes people look and how it can be addictive and how it can make people feel bad and compare and judge and all those things. So just think about that from a mental health standpoint. You have the head of Apple saying that, why can't we take a half hour here or there or more at times and just be present in the moment? So until next time, I suggest Alan Hayes with Voices for Voices. Thank you for joining us. We ask that you subscribe, give us a big thumbs up, follow, share, like. Uh, we just can't thank you enough. Near or far, watching, listening, we're grateful and humbled to have you with us. So go ahead and check out the other 337 episodes of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast catalog. Until next time, let's celebrate all the voices of the world. And we also ask you, as well as I ask myself, to be a voice not just for me, but for somebody else in need. So be a voice for you or somebody else in need. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.